Welcome to the show, where we discuss the first of Marvel's Netflix miniseries and discern the truth about why this show stands above the rest. The elements of quality storytelling that other shows are blind to. But not this show. So join us as we start Discerning Daredevil. Yeah, what's up, BlueDragonFive? You like my Vincent D'Onofrio?
Yeah.
I'm not in this episode, so I thought that I'd make a cameo appearance, just to keep up the formalities. All right.
You embarrassed me in front of them.
We're going to do an episode that I've been looking forward to. This is probably, out of the first 7 episodes, this is most definitely my favorite, although it only goes up from here. We're going to do Stick. Yeah. I got a stick. And we're going to do Stick. We're going to talk about Stick, and I got a stick.
Easy. Don't knock over the eel bottle.
I have mighty eel strength. All right. So, really quick, BlueDragonFive, what were your overall feelings about it?
Oh, this is a great one. This is really a great episode. Stick is fantastic.
Yeah, he's a great one-off character. He's a great I'm sure we'll see him again, and he really made an impression in the one episode he was around. So with that in mind, BlueDragonFive, let's dive right into it. Let's start with the plot.
Sure. So let's see. So Matt, we start the episode. Matt's going after Owsley, where he meets his old mentor Stick again. We see they team up to stop Nobu's Black Sky shipment. That's why Stick's in town this time. We got Karen and Ben looking for some Union Allied connections. We have a series of flashbacks to Matt and Stick's training and kind of bonding. We see Foggy eventually joins Karen and Ben's crusade through a series of events. We find out, big reveal, Black Sky is a little younger than we thought he'd be. Matt and Stick have a discrepancy about that. We see, again, in the flashback, Matt and Stick become pals, and Stick leaves him because of that. We'll get into details on that later on. The two have a brawl in the end, and Stick at the end has a chat with a very mysterious scarred man about danger heading Matt's way.
Ooh.
That's the episode.
Oh yeah. All right, so with that in mind, let's get through our 3 main arcs of the episode. Yeah.
All right.
So we'll start as always with Matt, intertwine a lot of Stick stuff into it. So where do you want to start?
Okay, let's see. So with Matt, we see, again, he's chasing, as he always does, he's chasing some Fisk. He's continuing his chase of Fisk with information from last episode he got from the dying Russian.
Mm-hmm.
And we see...
Owsley.
Exactly. We see with Stick, he's really with Stick in the fray. He's just kind of, these issues are brought up of him mulling over the moral decision, the whole kill decision with Daredevil. Should I cross that line to actually kind of put an end to these things, start impacting change? Because that's Daredevil's big thing. He wants to affect the status quo. He wants to improve it, make it better.
And it's something that's been a part of the show for a while now, but I feel like this is kind of the episode that really kind of brings that sort of idea into the forefront of the series, and it's just going to get even bigger and bigger from there in terms of how much it weighs on Matt's mind.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we also see, we have a big thing with Matt's character here. We see he's a definitely against killing children, too, big time. He will not go, even if it means saving a bunch of lives, he will not kill children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's important. We see he's definitely got some abandonment issues with Stick, because again, he really befriended Stick, and he looked to him as an important mentor, and that kind of.
And the flashbacks that we see, which we'll get into, are just plain traumatic in that regard. It's anyone would be bitter towards Stick after that, because it's basically just you've grown attachment to me, kid. Well, you know what? Because of that, specifically because of your attachment, I'm going to leave you.
Yes. And the important thing we see with Matt's character here is he does not want to be all consumed with the missions. He's like the anti-Batman in this episode. He makes it very clear. I don't want to be just consumed with the mission. I want a life here. Okay, I want basically I want to do what I have to, but just to make a difference, not to just live for what my mission is. Just want to make things better for everyone around me. I still want to be human. That's important.
And then Stick, of course, Stick, we'll get into it, but when he gets into his apartment, he's really critical of that kind of lifestyle.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, of course, the big thing is that he's forewarned by Stick of the dangers of the darkness to come. And, he refuses the change. That's Daryl's big thing. He has his moment of change where he could just let this happen, let the kid get killed, but he decides, no, that's not good.
Right. And it's literally at the midway point of the series, so I think that's kind of a big deal in terms of the overall narrative.
Oh, yeah.
But Stick and Matt just have such a good dynamic, especially, like, we really get to care about them as kind of, as Stick as a fatherly figure, and we see how that goes in the flashbacks. But just Matt and Stick in present day is a really good dynamic because as you said, like, Matt is just bitter about Stick and has abandonment issues with him. And Stick, he's just kind of like, a hard edge kind of, like, get off your ass, you pussy, just really cutting into Matt, just much like he did as a kid. So it's a really fascinating dynamic to explore.
Oh, yeah, big time. And, I tell you something, I really love the actor that plays Stick too. He's actually a famous. He has a really famous role in cinema history. He played Jack Crawford in Silence of the Lambs. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he's Scott Glenn.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
And the really interesting thing about Scott Glenn, by the way, you'll notice he's.
By the way, sorry about Hannibal.
Well, it's still up in the air. Let's not get into that.
Just wanted to give you my personal apologies for that.
Well, I mean, it's, the point is, Scott Glenn, though, he's actually a fascinating actor because, I think he's in the 70s now, and, he did pretty much like at least 80 to 90% of his own stunts in this episode. He keeps in really good shape. The physical stuff, that's almost all him. Like, he took a lot of those falls.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, the guy's really impressive. I can't wait to see him in season 2, hopefully. That guy's awesome.
It's a great in this kind of bottle episode. I mean, it's not necessarily a bottle episode, but it's kind of close because it's like we're focusing so much on this one guy throughout most of the runtime.
Yeah, this episode feels a lot like a one-off, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, right. Yeah. Okay, so let's see, where are we?
Okay, so then let's transition to our next arc, because I think we cover Matt again. Or Matt's big thing from start to finish is he refuses to change, and he's confronted by a ghost of his past that's just saying, well, listen, I can improve you, I can basically pull a Yoda on you here, kid. I can help you finish your training. But I can complete your training, but no, he's got to go save his friends in Cloud City. He's not willing to let those ties go. He just is not willing to be all consumed yet, like Stick is. And
okay, a couple quick things before we transition. One, I really like the dynamic when they get into the apartment. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but just to get into a little bit more detail on it, I really like the dynamic in the apartment where Stick is just kind of pointing out, like, look at yourself. You're surrounding yourself with silk bedding and women, and it's a comfortable lifestyle, kid, but it's not going to last. And he's just saying, like, like what Matt's doing in Stick's eyes is he's basically numbing himself
or lack thereof.
Right, to the impending doom that Stick is kind of like, kind of warning him about. Also, I just really like, the one particular moment where Stick's like, oh, boo-hoo, Stick left me, and now I gotta go be in between the legs of the supermodel.
Seriously, how cool is Scott Glenn as Stick in this episode? Seriously.
Oh, he's the best.
He is like the best one. He plays cranky, crotchety old guy so well.
But he's an awesome cranky, crotchety old guy.
Yeah, he just plays it so well. It's like you don't think he's an old guy. You just think he's just always so cynical and pissed off.
Exactly, yeah.
Really, really, really funny. And, all right. So I guess transition to our next arc, unless you got anything else.
No, sure, go ahead.
So we got Karen and Ben. So we see, hello?
Yeah.
There? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. So, see, Karen and Ben, they're picking up where they were last episode, where Karen is kind of, it's interesting, a theme of this episode is kind of mentorship and tutelage, because Karen is kind of the Matt Murdock in the situation, learning from the grizzled old veteran.
Very true. Yeah, you could look at it that way.
And that's what something's been set up before. We get to really see in fruition a really great scene where they're kind of on this kind of semi-stakeout, just kind of meeting with over coffee in the car, and just basically saying, like, "You sure? Last chance if you want out here." He says, "No, I'm all in for this."
I love that scene because it just kind of points out the mundanity of his job most of the time, you know, and how he's like, "Look, Karen, for all the leads that I've gotten, for all the stories that broke headlines, there's been a dozen that just fell through the cracks, you know, and it's all about grunt work." So I feel like that's a really realistic way to portray the lifestyle of a reporter.
And I love Ben Urich.
Oh, of course.
That's one of the things I wanted to acknowledge. It's been a while. I'm just getting nostalgic over it a little bit. Okay, let's see.
Of course, there are some breadcrumb trails in this scene, but we'll get to that when we get to the Braille trail.
There are some definite big bumps on the Braille map here.
Yeah. Oh, God.
So we see with Karen, you know, she's taking after Ben. She's learned some reporter tricks. She's getting really tenacious in a really lovely scene we have later on with Miss Cardenas, but we'll get to that.
Oh, yeah.
We also see definitely she's still developing feelings for Foggy and Matt in different ways, the Archie style.
Oh boy.
It's interesting. There's this really great bit towards the end where she kind of eventually, when Foggy is led into the fray, she refuses. It's like interesting that she refuses to do the classic thing of, "Oh, we got to keep this a secret." Like, she refuses to keep the secret of, we can't let anyone in. No, she logically realizes, well, yeah, we might actually need a lawyer, and I trust Foggy. I mean, who else do I got to trust? I mean, plus, who's he really going to tell? Matt, the other lawyer in this really kind of dwindling law firm?
We need a kick-ass lawyer, and Foggy's a kick-ass lawyer.
Exactly.
And he just...
Did get cut out a bit there, so...
And he just plain kicks ass.
There you go. Right. So, yeah, see what I mean? It's kind of nice seeing kind of Karen really kind of come into her own character and just being kind of that non-conventional character and make decisions that aren't the conventional choices, which is all her character in a nutshell, you know?
When you think about it, Karen really is kind of like one of the driving factors of the plot, just based on like the things that she sets up and the action she takes.
Of course, she's a lovely plot device in the best of ways.
Indeed.
Let's see anything else here. So again, she's getting closer to Foggy with this, and then she even swayed the grizzled old Ben Urich into trusting old Foggy Bear.
The cards with Urich.
Yes.
I have the Kingpin. Yes, I have the Kingpin. Okay, so we have Urich reveals a new card. You know, we already, of course, have the Kingpin card. Who is the Kingpin? But then he reveals a new card. It is a Jack. And its mask, its face is covered up with a mask. And the poor lettering, that's not so poor on the show, reads Black Mask. Who is the Black Mask?
Well, that's Roman Sionis. No, that's something else. Sorry. But no, seriously.
I was just looking at that too.
Just with the cards, importantly, this is important. So Karen, like in the beginning of the episode, they also set up that, Foggy, he's like anti the Black Mask. He's saying, no, we can't trust it. Like a terrorist, Yeah, let me just play a little bit of that scene for you. Let me play a bit of two scenes for you here. One, let's just play kind of the awesome, fun thing where this Foggy has a really, really hilarious moment there, which is after he kind of gets into his whole, Jameson style, I don't like that Black Mask. That masked man. And then so it kind of devolves after he gets through his little spiel. He says, hey guys, you know what we should do? It goes a little something like this.
Hideout. Softball. When are we getting a company team together?
We have 3 employees.
At least 2 of them aren't blind. Each every one of you. Karen, come on. Batting practice. You and me, Chelsea Pierce. What do you say? Or not? Totally cool.
I would. It's just that I have this thing.
Okay. Do that thing.
We say it an awful lot here, but seriously, the dialogue in the show is so good. That's such a natural scene that just happened there. Just want to make.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Acknowledge that, but also I love how even in that dialogue, so well written, it establishes, like, really fleshes out New York too. It's just saying, hey, let's go to Chelsea Pier. It's really fleshing out the environment, like, gives you a sense of familiarity there. So much development, only a few seconds, folks. That's what quality stuff you get from this show. Okay, let me get to the other scene here. It's kind of ultimately with their awesome card reveal. Again, Karen unwaveringly says, no, the man in the mask, I don't think he's that bad. He saved me after all. Says, well, maybe he had an agenda, maybe not. And anyway, so the point is, he still has to be on this board on just I love the show of acceptance within the whole Foggy, within the whole Karen Ben thing. Just investigation Union Allied is this board of all the cards pinned up on it, which is one of the best visual images in this season, probably.
Oh yeah.
and then basically, so they've established, okay, well, we gotta include this guy one way or another. It goes a little something a little like this. I think. I really hope
That's the case. Working against each other. The question is, which one trumps the other?
And with that said, I gotta tell you, it really just gives the Kingpin such presence, even though he's not in the episode. Seriously.
Oh yeah, sure. At this point, they built him up so much that even when he's not there, like, you're just holding your breath for him to show up.
Yeah, just seriously, just seeing a card with question mark is like, that's Kingpin. I'm satisfied. I get this D'Onofrio right
Exactly.
See,
There you go.
D'Onofrio is such a good actor. He doesn't even need to be in the episode to give a good performance. Okay.
I wish he was that good in Jurassic World.
He's okay, but he could be a lot better.
All right, well, we won't get into that.
Right. Okay, would you like me to play a little bit of Leland, or you want to save that for later?
Oh, let's save it for later.
Okay, just one making sure. Okay, let's transition to kind of the main piece de resistance about this episode. Why this episode is so darn good.
Okay.
Let's talk about the man who was named after the episode, Stick.
Stick. Yeah. Well, Stick. All right. So we start off with a really awesome intro with is it Nobu being chased? I think it's Nobu, right?
It's not. Nobu's still alive, Tiki. It's not Nobu.
It's not Nobu.
No, remember, the guy gets brutally killed.
Right.
Just I assume a guy, a Yakuza guy, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. And Stick, he's just like, where is Black Sky? He cuts off an arm. He's like, you have 3 limbs left.
Or anything else I can cut off. I swear on my family's life. You swear on my family's. They're better off without you.
Ooh, yeah. And then he gets in an elevator. We see he's blind, and it's an awesome reveal.
Oh, no, seriously, just for a moment, before we continue with Stick, just talking about the decision to bring in Stick for this show. You'll notice, Stick is usually a pivotal part of the Daredevil character. Sometimes he makes it screen, sometimes he doesn't. Like in the Spider-Man animated series, he made it the screen. Like, it was a quick little thing of Daredevil just kind of quickly, flashback style, going over his origin. And Stick, in almost every iteration, is the guy that trained Daredevil, like he does, like we see well done in this episode. And sometimes, though, like the Daredevil movie, they wanted to put Stick in there, but they had to get rid of that for time. It's unfortunate, but it would have been kind of like the Spider-Man episode, where you're only doing a flashback, and if you're doing a movie, you're going to be raised too many questions. So you understand why they cut him out. But it is.
Yeah, I mean, that movie was already kind of packed as it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you gotta give. However, you do see in this episode how it can be done so right, though. Yeah, but do you understand? Yeah, you understand. It's like you could, unless you had like definite sequels on the horizon, you didn't really want to introduce a character like that.
Indeed.
Just wanted to point that out. Stick is a cool character. I remember he was the reason he's really in this show, specifically aside from just being pivotal to Daredevil origin, is that he the big book that this series is based on, the John Romita story, the John Romita Frank Miller story, Man Without Fear, where that was when Daredevil's in the black costume. And you see like his origins, and you see Stick training. That's like there's a few issues of that story. I just want to point that out. It's good to see kind of Stick brought from that story on the screen. That's really good. I'm sorry, continue on. Let's get into it. After Stick has an awesome introduction, should we go to the past a little bit here?
Sure. Let's do it.
Interestingly enough about Stick. So Stick, on the surface, apparently he's called in by the sisters because Matt's not adjusting well to the blindness at first, because they think, oh no, he's just terrified about being blind. In reality, his gift's so good it's overwhelming him because of his super senses.
He doesn't know it yet, but that's what Stick's here to do. He's here to kind of like hone in his powers.
And on the surface, Stick's just there for the money. He's just like saying, well, just make it out to cash. But in reality, here's what's really going on here. Stick saw potential when he literally heard potential. He heard potential when he hears that there's this another blind kid like him. Basically, there's another blind kid, and he assumed he had really good senses, so he saw, like, because remember, Stick was blind at birth, and he developed his abilities.
Yeah, right. That's a big part of his character. Yeah,
certainly. And yeah, I assume he heard this, and he seeked out the kid to see if he was worthwhile, maybe making, I guess, another Stick, another like ultimate soldier like myself type deal.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting.
Props to the kid actor who plays Matt. Again, we've always said he's a really good actor.
I kind of wish he had another episode this season, but it was chock full of other great stuff.
Oh yeah. But I love how he portrays like just how scary mind and how overwhelming it can be, and what his powers are actually doing to him. And we get that really effectively in the opening scene of the flashback with him in the room. Mm-hmm. Just covering his ears, holding on desperately. It's kind of intense.
It is. I love that.
But then of course, Stick walk. Go ahead.
Sorry. I mean, I love the non-helpless reveal. Like, he tosses the keys at him, and like he grabs it right there.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to go over. But
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to go over the whole thing. I didn't know you were just going to go over the key part.
No. I was about to say, I love the bit with the keys.
They say they say you're not adjusting well. I think you're adjusting better than you thought.
Mm-hmm. Let's get started. What are we going to do to start training? Let's get ice cream.
It's funny, kind of Yoda style. It's like he appears to be something else at first, but really he is like this completely different, more stoic person underneath. Like at first he's like, oh, I'm just an average Joe earning a paycheck, and then he says, you know what, kid? You have this thing people call gifts. That he just instantly becomes Yoda from that point forward, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
It's like, what if you took Clint Eastwood and Yoda and you mixed them together? You get Stick.
You are totally right. That's beautiful. Oh, thank you for giving me an idea for a thumbnail.
No, don't do that.
I'm just kidding. Don't worry.
You've done stuff
you gotta admit that would be a funny image. So
I'm not saying I don't want to see it. I'm just saying I don't want to see it as the thumbnail. Anyway,
maybe I'll just make a Photoshop and send it to you then.
Maybe.
It's probably already online. I'm gonna Google Yoda Clint Eastwood. But go ahead.
Anyway, so point is, with Stick's kind of style here, we see in the flashbacks, we see he trained. His training styles, he trains them honestly and firmly. So like I love in that the ice cream scene is one of the best scenes in the episode. It really is. Where he's just like,
it's online. Yoda Clint Eastwood is online. Yep.
Oh, jeez.
As a matter of fact, it's a cosplayer who is cosplayed as Yoda Clint Eastwood. It's kind of beautiful.
You better ask yourself one question. Lucky do you?
And the other person is the chick from $1 Million Baby, but with a lightsaber. Oh God, that's beautiful. All right. I'm sorry.
Episode.
Yoda Clint Eastwood. Go ahead.
Okay, so the point is, with this style here again, he's like the ice cream scene is one of the best scenes in the episode, and of course, I love just again what we had so well in these episodes beforehand of just seeing Matt, just how good his senses are. Like when we remember the bit where he hears like Claire's like stitches tear and like the bones shifting because he's that good. He tastes the copper in the air, and we see where he learned that from Stick. I love that, seeing all those little touches come back into the fray when you see flashbacks like these, and he's like saying like, "Taste the ice cream. What do you taste? Vanilla." Well, don't you taste?
You can taste vanilla.
Yeah, everyone can taste vanilla. Like you can taste like all this chemical, a bunch of
He
chemical.
basically starts going into it like he's at a wine tasting or something.
Exactly.
It really did remind me of Paul Giamatti in Sideways, I will admit.
And I love just kind of like it's like Daredevil's detective, well, more like detecting skills than detective skills. But you know what I mean? Like his skills coming into play for the first time, and I love that. I really do.
No, it's a really cool scene. It's a really clever setup to kind of like how he's first kind of learning about his gifts. I really like it.
And also, again, this scene is so well laid out, by the way, of just like of Stick kind of laying out his lessons through the ice cream thing. Because in addition to the ice cream thing, he's like tell me about the stuff around you. What do you hear? And he hears like here's a dog, and he says, and here's important again with kind of Matt's detecting abilities later on in life, like the whole. But what can you tell me about what are you seeing right now? He says, well, it's a dog, and he's very hungry. Okay, what about the woman? I says, well, their skin temperature is really hot. Says that's because she's in love. That's terrible. And
the dog specifically also wants to eat the hot dog.
Yes. Oh. And then and then the last one was important. So again, working in the Stick's lesson there, he says like, what about the old guy across from him? He says, oh, he's dying. He says, yep. And you know that little lesson plan there is all laid out really well.
Sure.
And the important thing is
there's nothing you can do about it, kid. There's a big world out there, and not all of it is flowers of sunshine.
Yeah, that's the line. Thank you, Tiki. That's the line. So,
yeah.
Really great. Fantastic line. Fantastic scene. So again, we see again he's the reason for Matt's excellent senses and fighting capabilities. Again, with the fighting capabilities, we see like awesome training stuff of like him starting out with like if Murdoch's never quit. That whole thing laid out for you there. And of course, kind of Matt kind of going through some stages of he really holds himself accountable for what happened to his father. He blames himself. He only did that because of me, because I inspired him or something.
Right. I also like Stick's line, anger is a spark, rage is a wildfire.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That's a great line, too.
He has so many good one-liners this episode.
Seriously, I mean, there could be a book written of like awesome things Stick says.
Okay.
Twigs of wisdom from Stick.
There you go. Patent that and sell it.
Yeah, but seriously, so we get some awesome training stuff, and like the idea there is like you'll notice when he talks about it's really nice, great actually I'm going to save it for later. I'm sorry, we're going to save the intercutting for later.
Sure.
One is okay. So he trains him in youth, and you see how he got really good. And again, Stick's style here is really matter of fact. He's a real cynical approach to things. It's just his personality in a nutshell. It's like saying, "Man, this place is a rat hole. Look at this." Just all cynical, saying, "Oh, you're soft." And there was you mentioned earlier, TK. He has a fantastic line again. Big surprise. He has a fantastic line mentioning like this cushy lifestyle, these silk sheets. They're gonna come up and strangle you one and choke you.
Yeah.
I love that line.
Now, I know you haven't seen My Dinner with Andre, but let's just say there's a very famous scene in My Dinner with Andre about the dangers of comfort that an electric blanket represents, and it totally reminded me of this. So look that up. If you get the chance. Just look up My Dinner with Andre electric blanket. But Andre, I love my electric blanket. Okay, there's my Wallace Shawn impression for the night. All right, moving on.
All my Wally Shawn impressions would have probably gone the stuff Rex has said, but okay, let's see. Okay, so importantly, big moment in the Stick arc here is that we see down the line a few flashbacks into it that he grew too close to the kid.
He did.
Yeah, the point where he cared about him, and he realized importantly what he says in the present there of like you got to sever all your ties because what's going to happen, right? You're gonna wound your friends and you're gonna get yourself killed. It's like your friends are gonna. Here's the line: your friends. He says, no, I can't do that. He says, then your friends are gonna suffer and you're gonna be dead.
Yeah.
Good line. And the point is, like we see here in the past, the minute that happened for him, he severed ties because he didn't want Matt to get hurt because he cares about him. See, it's really beautiful the way it's set up there. Because there's a great bit in the episode where he, with the ice cream wrappers, he made him like a little. I'm sorry, you want to talk about it?
No, go ahead. I'll just display it.
Where he makes him an ice
shitty attempt to recreate it.
Yes. So basically, using the ice cream wrappers from that ice cream cone, he made a little bracelet, a friendship bracelet. It was all adorable, nice. Oh, and we see that
and
comes
Stick
back by the end.
basically does like traumatizing thing that you could possibly do to Matt at that age.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least he
He's
didn't
like,
rip it.
No, but he does crush it in his hand, though. That's almost just as bad.
Reverse Kalima, kid.
You know, he's basically just like, kid, I'm going to abandon you because you grew too close to me. You failed because of that reason.
Yes.
It's like, what a punch in the gut.
Yeah, so he cut him loose like he's been saying for everything else. So he just a minute, and again, it's not just because Matt cares, it's because Stick cares. That's important because he's realizing I'm taking a liking to this kid. The minute that happens, I gotta let him go, and it's like a moment of genuine concern for him, which I thought was really touching.
Yeah, it was.
So let's see. So again, we see with his personality, he's all about getting the job done, no matter what, which includes a lot of willingness to kill.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And boy, when Stick does that, because at the beginning there, I was wondering if it was Stick or not, because it's a guy with a samurai sword. And at first I was thinking it was just a hand guy, but then I realized, oh my god, it's Stick. Awesome.
What, the title of the episode didn't give it away?
No, I mean, I knew he was in it. I didn't know that was going to be him at first until it was revealed.
Uh-huh.
Because yeah, there's like hand guys. You're going to see a lot of hand guys, I'm assuming, next season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Especially in Iron Fist, maybe. Ha ha ha. Okay. Okay, let's see. So what else we got here? So again, he tries. It's interesting. So years later in the present year, he tries mentoring Matt into taking that step and taking that last step again. Kind of Yoda stuff, Empire Strikes Back style, completing his training. You know, because he left too early.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to basically. I think it's in a way. Stick is remorseful of cutting the kid loose, but of course he'll never admit that. But he's remorseful of doing so. So in his way of making up for, hey, listen, you know, I didn't complete your training because I separated us. I ended that. But you know what I'm going to do? Make it up to you. I'm going to help you by teaching you the last most important lesson you need so you can stop your big bad guy Fisk. I'm going to do that for you. And you know what that is? Killing people. If you do that, you know, you don't have to worry about them again. That's going to help you evolve to the warrior status, because the warrior does. You know, they kill their enemy with no remorse, no hesitation. So again, it's interesting. That's Stick's warped way of making up for abandoning him. And of course, Matt can't get into that. And I thought it was a brilliant bit of writing there, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
Because it's such a clever idea. It's just that he's trying to still mentor Matt after all these years and teach him that final lesson he just won't do. And then he keeps pointing out, that's why you're so soft. You won't take that step.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then at the end of the day, in the end of the episode, really beautifully, we see whether he'll admit it or not, he still has a soft spot for Matt because he kept that bracelet. And all it took was Matt flipping him over.
God darn it!
And all it took was Matt flipping him over a few tables from the realize that.
Exactly. Well said.
Okay.
All right. So is that it for the arcs?
I think so.
Okay. Well, with that in mind and that covered up, let's go to our third segment called Dare to be Different. Yeah.
Where are the episodes dared to be different?
So I have two things in particular, and feel free to chime on if you want, but I think the two things where this episode really dared to be different was, one, the depiction of the fatherly figure in Stick, which I feel is kind of like just a sharp left turn from something like an Uncle Ben or something like that in the Marvel context, where, you know, not only is Stick, of course, still alive, and he doesn't get the Uncle Ben. Of course, Jack Murdock is the Uncle Ben of the Daredevil universe, but that's notwithstanding. But
don't make me cry. I love Jack Murdock.
But you know, I think Stick, you know, it's like it's really unorthodox to see him treat a kid as harshly as he does, and yet throughout the episode we still get to care about this guy on a deep level in spite of how harsh he is towards Matt. So I think that was really a good breakthrough for the episode.
I think cruelty for children apparently is in Marvel's wheelhouse now, because, you know, Iron Man 3 did a bit of that, and it worked out. And here, the more cruel you are to children, the more it pans out well.
And then Inside Out put a kid in peril. So, you know, we're getting back to Don Bluth, kids. Getting back to Don Bluth. Don Bluth sensibilities coming back around. All right, anyways. Then the other time I definitely thought the episode dared to be different was definitely in the plot line of having, speaking of children and children in peril and whatnot, the plot line of the Black Sky being a kid. And we can compare that actually to a short that we're very familiar with, the Superman Justice League Gods and Monsters Chronicles, the Superman short Bomb, because that featured Superman who had to essentially put down a childlike toddler Brainiac who was kind of out of control. So what do you think, BlueDragonFive? Is this kind of a trend in superhero stuff? The whole, the kid who's the bomb, if you will?
Well, I'm not sure if it's a trend, because again, different production orders, but in terms of being like that, look, an actual trend. I'm not sure. It's always a great idea if you're going to do something like that, because it's this. It raises. It's actually. I read there was a great story in the comics that they did something similar to this, and almost identical to how it is in this episode. It's in X-Force, the Uncanny X-Force. That's basically the X-Men team. We're going to be seeing a movie of soon, and Deadpool's in the comic. Cool. Hopefully he'll be in the movie too, but we'll see. I don't see
any reason why he wouldn't be. I mean, exactly. If the movie he's in is a success, which I'm sure it probably will be.
Oh, I'm banking on it.
I know you are.
The point is, there's an important thing. So kind of tying into the new X-Men movie coming up, by the way, that because next X-Men movie is called Age of Apocalypse, featuring one of the X-Men's big bad guys, Apocalypse, like the god of mutants, pretty much. Like the
also featuring not Josh Brolin. Also featuring, what's that guy? Oscar Isaac. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so with that, essentially, and then the conceit with him, and you get a bit of that towards the end of the Days of Future Past, is that Apocalypse a lot of times starts off as a kid. Kid in the past, because they always go in the future with the Apocalypse, so I'm not going to get into that.
Okay.
There's a story where there's a young Apocalypse, and basically the X-Force team has to come to the decision whether to kill the kid or not. He's going to grow up.
Okay, that's interesting.
And interesting enough, Deadpool says, no, I don't kill kids. I'm not doing that.
Nice. Go Deadpool.
Yeah, so Deadpool, and he says, no, listen, I am, and unfortunately someone pulls trigger on, but then there's some circumstance, I think somehow the kid gets saved and Deadpool takes a liking to him and keeps him safe.
Okay, that's cool. It
was really nice. And like Deadpool for him was like really mad at the guy that tried to kill the kids. Like, yo, come on, man, what's wrong with you? Which is really funny. But the point is, like this idea of like making the kid kind of the big threat of whether you take him out or not take him out, it raises a lot of really interesting moral questions. I don't want to go too much of the well with that in the future, though. I mean, it's kind of a neat. It'll soon, if you cheapen it by doing it over and over again, it'll be kind of like, oh, let me guess. The big surprise is going to be, it's a kid. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I think the way it's spaced out now, because there's been a good level of space in between those three. Because to be fair, again, different production orders for Daredevil and Just Like Gods and Monsters. But I mean, there's been a few years between that X-Force thing.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I will say, I don't want it to be like a big trend, but it's really impactful when it does happen, though.
And it definitely, like you said, it definitely kind of sets the tone and kind of like brings up some big kind of broad spectrum questions that this series is trying to answer on a whole.
Because technically, when you think about it, it's like, should we kill the kid who's going to let's say the kid has the codes to a nuclear weapon. Do we kill him or do we not kill him? Well,
you know what a perfect analogy is that old cliche of like, if you travel back in time, would you kill Hitler as a baby?
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah, they made a Twilight Zone episode about that.
Seriously? There's a Twilight Zone episode about that?
Yeah, but it's the Forrest Whitaker Twilight Zone.
Well, not the Rod Serling?
No, not the Rod Serling one. No. I remember seeing it on the Forrest Whitaker Twilight Zone.
Well, I mean, it's not that Whitaker's bad, but he's not Robert Serling. He's not Serling.
That whole show is not Serling. It is not the Twilight Zone. I mean, it's the Twilight Zone, but it's not the Twilight Zone.
Okay. Point is, let's see, where were you going with that? Oh, yeah, it's like an interesting point of like, technically, yes, like in like on paper, yes, you should kill the kid, but in reality, you can't kill a kid, man. That's not right.
Right.
Man, what kind of monster are you? It's like the whole Batman killing thing. But you become the evil you're facing. You're killing babies. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's always an interesting idea. Anyway, so let's go through a few more Dare to Be Different things. Okay, so with that, kind of we have the what I loved in particular in connection with that, Tiki. The kind of the flips, the other half of that.
Mhm.
I love the Ozymandias style reveal of he's already dead. I love that bit.
Yeah.
Of just like the whole like Matt's like, because you think the way this is gonna play out, and the way I was suspecting this to play out, like I think we all were, is like it was gonna play out like Matt foils the killing attempt. It's gonna be Stick, you can't kill that. You can't. I said no killing. I'm not working with you, and I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna try to change your mind. And there's no. While you were fooling around with those guys, after you botched my perfectly good shot, I did the logical thing. I found the kid, and I finished the job. I put an arrow through his heart. Which is really dark, by the way.
Oh God, yeah, and that just sets Matt off, and then they go into that awesome apartment fight.
Which, by the way, I just love again, you know me, I love my heroes doing heroic stuff, like when they're saving people, but also like it's kind of in the similar vein of like kind of the cheap thrill of like when a hero just loses his cool because a bad guy's just done something really hard. When a guy's done something really horrible, the hero just loses his cool and he's like instantly goes to that heroic mode. I love that too. Yeah. Just when just the minute he says, "Yeah, I put an arrow through his heart," like just Matt loses, like punches him right there. You killed someone. I told you not to kill anyone. Really awesome. But seriously though, that's like a non-conventional thing. You don't see that often. They didn't do the cliche rattle. I'm going to try to change you. No. He's already dead. I mean, again, rarely in life do you get a good opportunity to use one of those. Like so the Watchmen, again, the Ozymandias was kind of the big popularization of like, I'm not a comic book villain, Rorschach. I did it. I started the bomb 30 minutes ago.
Right.
Something like that. It's always it's a great reveal of like, no, it's already done. He's already dead. It also like, let me just tell you this: Superman versus the Elite does something kind of similar, and it's really awesome they do it in there.
Okay.
That's something else, though. Sorry. So let's see. Again, overall, some great weaving, just kind of the relationship into the story with the editing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Extremely well done. Again, you see this episode just pairs that. Stick is introduced in one episode and he leaves after one episode. Yet you get a full sense of the whole lifestyle of this guy. Like you buy into the bond.
And throughout the rest of the season, like he's still kind of like a part of the story, even though he's not there. Yeah, he leaves an impact.
He does, and importantly, the reason that happened, Tiki, is because they weaved it in so Saving Mr. Banks stylely good.
Right.
Seriously, they did, because they lay it out like you'll notice thematically in the episode when something is happening related to the flashback, it goes there to show you like when he says no, I'm just generalizing this. When like he would say to Stick like no, I'm not that way, and then you would see how that idea started in the past there, and it's weaved so powerfully in there. It really just gives you a sense of like the whole history between these two guys, why it was so impactful to Matt when he left, because they were becoming real friends. Like he taught him so much stuff that we, smartly enough, have seen him do in spades beforehand, doing it so well, like all his senses and his training and his fighting so well. And now we see the guy who started all that and why it really hurt Matt when he left.
Yeah, well said.
Really great stuff. Also, the pulling off. Again, we mentioned that the opening is really good.
Really good cold open. Yeah.
So yeah, with that, the mystery of Black Sky was really interesting to see. But let me tell you the actual mystery here. So the power set thing, then that was interesting. That's something that's unconventional, Tiki. Okay. They at the end of this episode, they did not tell you at all what Black Sky did or does or anything.
That's very true. I noticed that when I rewatched it. It's very ambiguous.
Now, just so you know, as far as I've found, and as far as anyone else has found, to my knowledge, we have no idea what Black Sky is. That's an original idea for the show.
Okay.
So Black Sky hopefully season 2, because initially, foolishly, all of us thought that this might just be one season.
Exactly.
So I mean, again,
but there's so much stuff up in the air after season 1.
They said regardless they were gonna have ideas for 2, whether it gets picked up or not. And I mean, thankfully we're gonna see some of this paid off. I can't wait to see more Stick. And at the very least, I want to see this Black Sky paid off, because what do you think the Black Sky did, Tiki? What do you think? Because all they said was he brings darkness. That's
in all honesty, like. One thought that did go through my mind as I was watching the episode is, what if Stick is just nuts? Like, what if they've got the wrong information or something? I don't know.
I was thinking,
what if Black Sky, what if they got the wrong information, and instead of being this weapon, that kid was actually kind of a, part of the human trafficking thing that I don't know, were the Koreans involved in the human trafficking?
Well, I don't think they're Korean. I think they're Japanese. I don't know, but sorry, wrong thing. I don't think it's human. No, I think the Russians were in charge of human trafficking, but I could be. They might be a mixed thing, though.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking at first, but I don't know. It's just I don't really, to tell you the truth, I don't really want to think too hard about it, just because I feel like I like it being ambiguous.
I'll tell you what I think it is, though. I think it's one of two things, and I think they're well founded. I think we'll get a lot of answers to this sort of stuff in Iron Fist, to be honest with you. But
I'm sure we will, and that's what's cool about this whole Marvel TV universe, is that it really feels like it's going to tie into each other, just like the films tie into each other.
Right, so I think either the kid's a biological thing, like he has a disease and like he'll wipe out. Basically, I get the sense that Nobu's plan is to. The thing is, I believe Nobu's plan is to wipe out a section of Hell's Kitchen, and with those buildings we saw in his little map of Hell's Kitchen, he's going to have like the hand bases located. That's basically get rid of all the people moving the hand guys, so you rule this area of New York and take over from there. And the point is, so I thought the kid might, if the kid's either a biological thing where he holds a disease and he'll wipe out people like Contagion style, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Or B, and this could be the Iron Fist route if they go. So again, one of two ways, depending how gutsy they want to be. It could be the kid has like an energy bomb, kind of like a mystical energy like Iron Fist has, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking it's either the mystical energy route or it's because whatever this kid is, he is deadly enough to the point where Stick is saying, "Look, we got to kill this kid." Like, no, nothing else.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
But Mary, like, there's a huge sense of dread when he's just describing they have a super weapon. You know, this is a thing we cannot. If this thing touches down, we're doomed. Like it says, like, you know, this is like I'm gonna help save your city, kid. That sort of thing. Like, this is bad stuff that's going to happen. And they also
you don't think it's even a possibility that he just got wrong information, though?
Remember, we saw who he's working for, so I'm thinking it's well-founded.
Okay. I mean, I understand we saw who he's working for, but you don't think there's any sort of ambiguous nature to it?
Well, I mean, initially I thought there might be like a little bit of an ambiguity, but then again, when you think about it, though, Nobu brought this thing in, so anything Nobu wants his kid for, it's not good. Yeah,
that's very true. That's the argument. Okay.
And plus, Stick said, like, you can sense the things on this kid like that I am.
Right.
And importantly, that's another thing with Matt's arc here is that he's blinded by the emotion. Blinded. Sorry. He's blinded by the emotion of like it's a kid when maybe he's not sensing the possible danger this kid has on him.
Mm-hmm. Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see. I think we got everything here. Again, with the violence earlier in the episode, we saw like a hand got removed and a guy got like his head cut off. Just really brutal.
I think after the whole Wilson Fisk, you embarrass me in front of her thing, everything's kind of fair game with the violence.
I gotta tell you this: whenever the limbs are cut off, it always kind of makes me like cringe a little bit. Especially more so, believe it or not, more so if it's fingers versus a hand, but still just like the hand going. Oh God.
Actually, believe it or not, you know what made me cringe the most out of anything in this episode? You're going to laugh at this, but it's when Foggy hits the guy on the head with the bat in the alley, because just the sound design, man, you really hear that bat go into that skull. I'm like, oh, God, ow. All right, anyway, should we get to our... Sure. All right, let's get to our blinding moment of awesome. Yeah. All right, so BlueDragonFive, we both picked moments that kind of correspond to one another, so I will go first. My moment is Karen when she's having her little meeting with Elena Cardenas, one of my favorite side characters on the show for sure. And Cardenas, you know, it starts out very innocently, like, you know, Karen got groceries for Cardenas, and she's like, Cardenas wants to pay her, and Karen's like, no, that's unnecessary. Cardenas is like, no, I do not take charity. And so Karen's like, well, all right, you know what? If you want to pay me, how about you pay me with information? So the two have a little sit down, and you know, I don't exactly remember the they're talking about, let's see.
Mr. Tully. Talking about Mr. Tully.
Right. Yeah. So that's essentially what they're talking about.
Like Mr. Tully gets to go on vacation while she's living in squalor. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just say she coins a phrase the Russian said to Wilson Fisk last episode, which made me really laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
But again, she apologizes because again, when they use the religion in the show, they use it just right. Because here it's like, you know,
it's perfect.
She has like
this is my blindy moment of awesome. Yeah.
Sorry, go.
So yeah, it's at first she's like, let's see, I'm trying. At first, Karen's like, "Oh Christ," because we have that hilarious moment where Elena, she's like, "Oh, you're working on the case with a handsome lawyer," and and she's like, "Oh, Matt, yeah." And she's like, "No, Senor Foggy."
Archie.
And then Karen just blushes and she's like, "You think Senor Foggy's handsome?"
I gotta
And
say,
then Cardenas has a great line. She's like, never is a man good looking than when he is in love.
Oh my God. I love that.
And then and that's what causes Karen to say, "Oh Christ." And then she notices a little Jesus figure and she's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Seriously, how adorable is Karen Page?
Oh, she's great. And
See,
then Cardenas
Cardenas
returns the favor because, like you said, Tully's living on a beach, and then Cardenas, she's like, "I live like this, and that fat piece of shit lives on a beach." Oh, excuse me.
It's like just like the third person in the room,
Right.
So funny. And also, so again, the scene escalates to the point where, like, again, we see Karen getting really tenacious, and she's like saying, like, if we get information on these guys, it'll be like, we got
like getting their dicks in a vice.
And I love Miss Cardenas' reaction of like,
and I love how she switches, like she gets so enthusiastic that she's speaking in Spanish, and then like literally like mid-sentence, she's like, "We'll have their dicks in a vice."
Yeah,
yeah, Cardenas, her reaction is just priceless.
It's like she's just like so shocked by like, "Oh my God, a sweet little girl talking like a sailor here." It's like, and then I love the sweet line though.
Page?
Now this is important. There's a really great line in this scene. She questions this with Karen's arc also. It's a bit of that. She says, Miss Elena says, "Have you always been? How long have you been like this? Or how have you always been like this?" And then Karen says, "Ever since I've been to New York." So that's important, just showing you that Karen, she's morphing into something. She's not sure. Of course, by the end of the show, we're going to see, especially when she.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm just saying,
episode 11. Episode 11.
Yeah. And the point is, even since the beginning, we've seen her being really changed by the city. So that line has a lot of truth in it, which is really good.
Yeah. And then, of course, to tap it off, and what makes this scene really my blindy moment of awesome is, as Karen leaves the room, Cardenas does a little cross gesture to the Jesus statue. Like, perfect. Perfect scene.
It's like the buddy Christ from Dogma.
It really is. Oh God.
It's like I'm just sorry. I'm thinking of, because of the Father's Day thing. I'm thinking of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Will Smith. Just he was begging. He was in a church with Carlton begging that he didn't get married. He says, "Please, God, no, he didn't get married." And then he says, "No, Will, I didn't get married." Just looks up and says, "You the man."
You the man.
It's really funny. Anyway, so my blinding moment of awesome is kind of the follow-up.
Yeah, which comes literally right after my scene. So
because now, importantly, with the whole Tully thing, what she was asking, what was revealed was like what the two men that came, like the two quote-unquote lousy repairmen that came to her place looked like, in like a bald guy with tattoos and another guy. Anyway, interestingly enough, convenient or not, but it makes sense. Tully's got his guys watching the place. It makes sense. They're looking there and they see Karen Page coming out of there, and I assume like they've probably watched her and Foggy go up there before, so she knows, oh man, these guys probably mean trouble to keep visiting this old lady. We're trying to scare her out of her place. So they accost her in an alleyway. Really scary, by the way. And again, I love how Karen Page. First of all, I love this set. This episode probably, I don't know out of all the episodes, but definitely in one episode, has some great payoffs to their references early in the episode. Because
it really does. Yeah.
Remember, Karen, it's mentioned early in the episode that Foggy and Matt are talking to each other after Karen leaves, and they're saying, "Well, she's carrying Mace now. I'm afraid for her. Something's up with her."
Right.
And of course, that comes back in two ways: one of Foggy about to reappear, and two with Karen having Mace. And I love this too.
And
by
it's
the way.
really threatening because the bad guy, he's like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so with the scene here, first of all, I love how, again, it's kind of a Dare to Be Different moment where she's about to pull the mace out and we're thinking, oh, she's going to spray him. Yay, Karen. But nope. It's like a realistic thing of like, wait, she was going to mace us. How about we empty this in your eyes, lady? And let me just play the rest of it for you. Well, what happens here? Let me play it for you in Murdoch Vision.
Okay. Murdoch Vision.
3D. Or actually, Murdoch Vision double D. Get it?
Oh, God.
Turn your eyes up so you don't go sleep. You're not supposed to. Bitch. What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
You're following me?
Yeah.
Why?
You're acting weird. I was worried about you.
I can take care of this.
Let's discuss that away from the maniacs, okay?
Yeah, I told you, man. That sound. Oh, God.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right about the sound.
It's brutal.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's as brutal as the hand chop, but you might be right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
All right.
let me say why that's the blind
Yeah,
man awesome there. So, more importantly, I just love the Foggy in that scene particularly. First of all, just Foggy comes to the rescue, which was awesome. Like, yeah, Foggy, he factors in the episode after all. He saves her. Yeah, that makes sense. He's concerned for her earlier on. That's what I love so much about that scene. In addition to just her macing the crap out of that guy, which is priceless. I love just Foggy and her having this really high octane discussion of like, hey, what are you doing here? I'm looking after you. This is why, because you're acting weird. I just love that. Just the dialogue and just the delivery of it, like so in a frantic situation, you never see that. Like these discussions always like, it's always like a full conversation going on in the war zone, and then Foggy does a logical thing saying, let's talk about this away from the people. And also, the important reason why it's Blinding Moment of Awesome is because Foggy got to have a bit of a softball team save the day in the end anyway.
Yay!
Yeah. Look at it. Even it's so cool. Foggy's so awesome. He hits the ball to hit the guy. Then he hits the guy.
Right.
Seriously, good on Foggy. Really great scene. That's a Blinding Moment of Awesome. Moving on.
All right. Now let's quickly go through some kind of bite-sized chunks, kind of bullet points of the Braille Trail.
Okay.
Ooh. All right, where do you want to start?
Let's see. So we got like Leland's taser coming back, and will come back also. And he gets overall with the taser, the paranoia of Fisk of like the guy killed the Russians with the car door, and he's going a little nuts lately. Maybe we should have some precautions, look out for each other. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me play it a little bit for you. It goes a little something like this.
What happened to the Russians? We need to be careful, all of us. I look out for you. You look out for me. All I'm saying, each man must stand for himself or fall with the unworthy. What the hell does that mean?
And then. So
that was very closely going to be my Blinding Moment of Awesome.
It was, but seriously, that's kind of what's going on with their bad guys too. They are kind of in a state where they are a little paranoid of Fisk. Also, we see Nobu. He's got remember the whole Black Sky thing was his master plan this season. That's been set up with the whole takeover of Hell's Kitchen. So, so we're gonna see he definitely has ties to the Hand organization. We're gonna see that big time down the line. Also, it looks like there's some potential with the ending of the episode. I'm sorry, you take us through a few.
Okay, well, a few of them I noticed. Definitely, we have the continuing mystery about Matt Murdock's mother, because Stick literally asked about the mother, and the nun, in the most coy way possible, she's like, well, that's another story.
Which is hilarious, by the way. Because it is another story.
Of course, we have Urek and Karen, and there's a whole bunch of foreshadowing going on there.
The brilliant about which I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Say it.
Well, it's just kind of the role reversal. You know what I mean? Like, Urich, he's warning Karen about being careful, and yeah, you know how now that she's in this, she can't get out of it, and in the end, it's going to be Urich who falls, and it's going to be probably on Karen's shoulders.
Yeah, well, with that, and it's kind of piggybacking off that, it's precisely it's him saying, I don't want to be basically, if anything bad were to happen to you, I don't want to hold myself responsible for that or something like that. Basically, I couldn't get over it if something bad happened to you, and of course that's going to be turned on its head towards the end.
Exactly.
What you said.
Way, sure.
Exactly there. So let's talk about a little bit about season 2 hints we got here. Like, so Stick, and again, it's unclear at this point. I believe because in the comics he has ties to the hand, and I don't know if it's like different branches of the hand. Because again, Nobu hand, Stick hand. Because I believe Stick is hand trained. If I'm right.
I'd be surprised if he wasn't. I'd be really surprised.
I'm saying the point is like it could have a bunch of ninja organizations. I'm not sure, but I mean, hand is like the primary one which we do see in this show, definitely. But so the point is, it's like Stick with potential hand ties also, and in season 2, there's a big hint to like doors opening of like actually it goes a little something like this at the end.
Will you be ready when the doors open?
Yeah. So with that, the doors open is most likely in reference to, and again, it'd be really cool to see this come to pass, but in a good way, because in the comics they kind of botched this, from what a lot of people will say. Okay. Again, as I've been saying with what looks like Nobu's plan here is like clear out Hell's Kitchen and take over a building so the hand has a base of organization. Sure. And I think that means the doors opening of these buildings they're going to be taking, you know?
Yeah.
Then again, it could be like reference to some Iron Fisty type stuff we might be seeing. So again, it's unknown, but the point is doors opening is not a good omen.
No.
And again, with the stuff set up here, like Nobu's asset is gone, which means he's got a grudge against Daredevil, which we're going to see coming to awesome fruition.
Oh God, yes, 2 episodes from now.
We see Foggy's in the with Karen and Ben, which is nice.
Indeed.
He's seen the board, which means he's in. Now, there's a really you mentioned this, Tiki, actually. Stick had a line referencing the supermodel. Matt had her legs wrapped around him.
Is that Elektra? Is that an Elektra reference?
I believe that is Elektra. I'm pretty.
Okay, so we have 2 Elektra references.
Now, importantly, Tiki, attached to that, with the potential second Elektra reference there, is that now the way Matt and Stick talk in this episode, it sounds a lot like after he abandoned him as a kid, he kept tabs on him and he will like drop in now and again, because again, Matt has that familiarity with him. So it would seem to me that, with the fact that he mentions like supermodels wrapped around you, it would be that he may, because he said there's this great line he also says of like it took you 20 years to escape that hole, which makes me think 20 years after he's a kid, he dropped in on for maybe like a few visits, a few training sessions, maybe again. Well, that's stuff to be explored in season 2, whether he like checked in now and again as the years went by, maybe. Because we're going to see soon in the episodes, we're going to see like a younger Matt still going on the prowl as Daredevil. Maybe it's going to be a bit of some implied Stick visits between them.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe, because again, he did get really good at the martial arts. I don't assume that was all without.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah.
So we'll see. Again, mentorship was a big theme of the episode. Again, you see that with Ben and Karen and Matt and Stick. Again, I mentioned the whole Ben being protected of Karen. Let's see. So again, Matt has been warned to sever ties, and Matt is being prepared for obstacles ahead. There are going to be big obstacles, one of them being the Kingpin, and apparently some hand stuff on the horizon. So that's really all I got for Braille Trail, unless you got anything else.
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah.
Okay, so last thing to do, of course, is to go into the Nelson Murdoch verdict.
Yeah.
Totally gavel. Totally legit.
Yeah, we could totally be lawyers.
Oh, yeah, we totally could. All right, so for me, I definitely think this is a perfect way to kind of have a middle point in the series. I think out of all the episodes that have come before, this is the strongest one. and all the episodes that come afterwards arguably just get stronger and stronger and stronger from there. I think the show had a really good start, certainly. You know, the first 6 episodes were really good all on their own. I think this episode is the one that really takes it to the next level, really, you know, expands on the storytelling and the symbolism and the character development and all that good stuff, and really just ramps it up. And God knows that in the next episode after this, we're just going to get, you know, if this episode takes it to the next level, the next episode, episode 8, is going to take it into the stratosphere. So, yeah.
Right. So for me, it's like this is a really solid character building episode. Really, like a really fantastic one shot. Like, it's really self-contained, really good in that respect. And again, also like it loosely connects into other stuff, but basically it's a big foreshadowing episode. You're right; it does serve as a really fantastic halfway point for the series.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, so also this episode 2 is like I assume maybe they had this like in the back of their minds during this. It's a big season 2 precursor with a lot of ideas that I can only hope will be explored season 2.
I'm sure they will be.
But again, really, really good episode. You know, you're right. The format, the way it's just is kind of laid out for us, they're like really selling on this relationship between Matt and Stick. Really powerful stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really good. Really good. Okay, so I think that about does it, right? Right?
If I can play one last thing before we go.
By all means, by all means.
Yep, sure. Just a little last little fond farewell to Stick.
Nice catching up.
Nice. Well played.
Yep. And again, also, I just want to make sure we didn't glaze over it. Awesome fight scene between those two guys. Seriously.
Oh, for sure.
Just want to make that clear, but that's no surprise at this point. Awesome fight scenes. Seriously,
No.
That was awesome. There's still hope for you yet, kid. Okay. That's all.
All right. Well, that's all for now until our next daring installment of Discerning Daredevil. Excelsior!
Enough said.
Oh, boo-hoo. Stick left me, and now I'm going to go wrap myself around the legs of a supermodel.